Good evening. Can you hear me? Oh, we got a lot of comments already going down over here. Coming to you live from my bathroom. It's been a crazy few days. Crazy weekend. I just, honestly, folks, I just want to talk about cryptids and alien abduction and ghosts. Let's tell some ghost stories, man. Why do we got to have all this drama? I asked to be left alone. It's all fun and games until my wife ends up going to the hospital. Yeah, that was real cute.
Well, fools are a dime a dozen. If it's not one group of them, it'll be another, or another, or another. So
Yeah,
it's not worth even talking about anymore.
Well, the sad reality is that I interviewed another person who will be coming on my show, and her story was mistold too, and very quickly, because it's been asked by a billion people since it was in the group on Paranormal Round Table. Nellie is fine. She had to go to the hospital with chest pains. She wasn't feeling good after some stuff that transpired, and then that individual went and posted that I wouldn't leave it alone after they machine gun called both of us and Ryan and his girlfriend. And Ryan and Ashley both told this guy the same thing: leave us alone, leave Josh and Nellie alone. But that wasn't good enough. No, they had to go and start messaging me. So it is what it is. But we're not gonna dwell on that. I'm just gonna get that out of the way for anybody who was wondering, because there were people that were asking about it. She's fine. She's not. She don't want this mess, and she doesn't need to be dealing with it. And it's not as easy just blocking somebody when they have like different profiles, like calling themselves different names. You know, I don't. It's just not as simple. You could just block. I just block them and go on. Yeah. Well, that'd be nice if that was in a perfect world. That's what you do. Thank you for the donation, John Villafranco. You're always very kind. Yeah, like walk away from the drama. Yeah, it'd be nice if you could walk away from it, but they bring it to your doorstep. Not technically, no, not like I've heard. Some people, being messed with, bringing it to their doorstep literally, but not. It hasn't been actually physically brought to my doorstep. It's just being. Do we need this?
Not really.
It was just being. It's being brought to my groups, to my channel. This person has now gone out and accused me of going and bringing armies of people to dislike his shows, which is not true. I do not waste my time going and disliking people's shows. I don't do that. Don't care. Because for me to just automatically dislike your show would be dishonest, because I didn't listen. I don't listen to it, so I don't do that. Michael, thank you for that donation. Somebody asked, did you get my package? Who was this? Because I did get 3 different packages. Somebody can ask again. I didn't. The comments went by so quick.
Oh, that was Curtis Turner.
Curtis, okay. Curtis, what did you send? So, anyways, prtpodcast.com, prtpodcast.com. That's our website. Josh Turner at prtpodcast.com. That is the email address. And Curtis referring to sending a package. If you want to send something to the PRT team, to any of us, the address is 6001 West Palmer Lane, Suite 370, PMB 131, Austin, Texas 78727. Once again, that's 6001 West Palmer Lane. Palmer is Parmer, Suite 370, PMB 131, Austin, Texas 78727. So if you want to send, there you go. And I appreciate it. Did Curtis ever answer me?
Yeah, he said I sent a package. LOL. Well, that's real helpful.
Okay.
Speaking of Curtis, he's one of our patrons.
Yeah, let's do the Patreon. I was going to say, okay, well, be a little more specific here. We have E. Marie 84, or is that an M or an E? I can't tell. Sorry. I can't tell. I think it's E. Marie 84. Thank you. Super Hornet 1, Kevin, Debbie Wolf, Extreme Reality Check, Histotech, James Estrada, Tim Bernard, Ricardo Herrera, Barry, Titan, Chronological, Dead Man Walking, Guy, Don Wills, Melissa Panay, Derek Tribble, Andrea Krask, Patrick Nickerson, Shannon, Joyce Brunette, Wendy Page Williams, Barbara Blindy, Martin Hertel, Terry Fusler, Chris Clough, Curtis Turner, Philip Morn, Alexander Murphy, Matthew Durgo, Chris Smith, and Ralph Ayu. And y'all are our patron. Thank you for supporting us. Those are $10 patron supporters. It helps our show.
And Chris Clough asked if we got his package with the candles and the
Yes,
water.
we did. We actually have it in the studio in the office, right next to us in our office. It's right there. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah,
That's
candles,
very
the holy
cool.
water, the rosary, they're all very beautiful.
Very beautiful. I'm not Catholic, but I have no problem with receiving religious artifacts. If you know. Thank you again, John, for your donation, $10. That's appreciated. Somebody said I had to stop talking to family members. Too much crap to deal with. It's their problem. Yeah, believe me, I don't. There's certain family members I don't really talk too much anymore. Any update on Linda Godfrey? Not at this point. And I have been so busy. I've been kind of out of the loop, and I haven't. I've messaged with Barton a little bit, but we haven't had a chance to talk, and I haven't talked to any of my fellow paranormal people to much to ask. I've just been doing a lot of interviews with people. Extremely busy. I'll check around though and see what I can find out. If I talk to any of my cohorts in this industry, I will let you guys know if anybody can tell me anything about her condition. Also, we had a winner. Can I have my phone right there? We had a winner for the contest. Let's announce that. Don't forget, tomorrow, I guess tomorrow is the last day, right, for the submissions for the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
So far, I've only gotten maybe 4 or 5. If that's all I get, I don't know what I'm going to do. We may have to postpone it for another month. So I'm hoping that you guys will send in your submission so I can get at least half a dozen on there. Things kind of got derailed because of the situation with us taking a hiatus, my mother's death, and then the subsequent war that went on after that. That we're still kind of in. We're trying to not be, but it just seems like just people don't want to let things go. Brooke Siegler Smith, she was the winner. She's from Texas. So I don't guess you'll be needing any Texas swag because you're from here. So you can go and get it anywhere. So, but I threw in something else extra for you instead of so. I was talking to some people the last couple days, doing some interviews. Interesting stuff. Bigfoot, Dogman, werewolves, poltergeist, you name it.
We had a question from the Sleeping Wendigo. Asked question: What is the difference between Dogman and werewolves?
Okay. I had somebody that I did a short interview with yesterday who gave me a story. He has a couple more, and he only touched on 1 or 2 little things there. We're going to talk again. And I told him something yesterday. And I guess I could tell you guys, he was the first person that I've actually like voiced this to. And you can go and say you heard it here. People will probably make a big deal and say, "Oh, Josh Turner said this is it. This is gospel truth." Well, it's not the gospel truth. This is just what Josh Turner's theory is. When people have an encounter with a wolf, canid, upright canid type creature, I don't really know what to call it. I know that when I had talked to Lon Strickler and Jody Cook, both kind of said that they call it upright canid. I kind of grasped that's what I would prefer it to be called. Dogman sounds silly. In fact, it sounds dumb. It sounds kind of stupid, really. These things don't really look like dogs. They look like wolves more typically than dogs. And then, of course, there's the hyena-looking ones. But you go and you look at a picture of a werewolf and you tell me, does it look like a dog? It's just silly. I mean, the dog man thing, this dog thing, I don't, and I just think it's a silly, I've been saying this for the last several years. I think it's a silly name, and but upright canids, when you're seeing these upright canids, one of the things that I think can differentiate is that a dog man, a lot of times when you're dealing with an actual dog man or something if it is let's just start with that. Okay. Let's keep it simple. The description, there are descriptions of fur. Okay. Like fur, like on a dog or a wolf. Okay. And then there are descriptions of, you can see the arms and the chest and it looks like hair. Right.
Yeah.
And we get 2 different kinds of stories. I often wonder because sometimes the descriptions will look the same other than the hair. The hair will look like human hair, but really, really thick and coarse. And then sometimes it will look, but you can still see the skin in it, And then sometimes you'll get this thing that just looks like it's covered in fur, completely covered in fur. And it looks like a timber wolf or a hyena or some sort of weird, canid that you can't really identify. Not necessarily a dog, but so you get these descriptions that are different in the way that in the appearance of the hair follicles, and there is a difference between hair, and Fur on an animal is, and I'm not going to get into science about it, science behind it, but fur is not hair. It's different. Has a different consistency. It looks different. It feels different. It has this. It's a different. It's not the same thing. It is their version of hair, but it's not necessarily hair. And so I wonder about some of these encounters where, especially in the upper body, they'll notice that they can see like what just looks like coarse hair that looks human hair. To me, if I had to pick a side on that argument, I would say that would be a werewolf. That would be a shapeshifter or some type of skinwalker. Just my opinion. Whereas if you're dealing with an actual flesh and blood dogman creature or something that comes from within the inner earth, which is another theory of mine, they could have fur. They could be just like a canine that has, that the ability to walk upright and move like a man, and they have a fur, and then it's more of a wolf type creature. Less human, more wolf. Let's put it that way. Does that make sense? Or does it sound like the ramblings of a madman?
Chase Thompson left a pretty good comment earlier. He said, like when we were talking about like the name for him, what to call him, he said he calls them walking wolves. I think that sounds pretty cool.
Walking wolves.
Mm-hmm. I might use that actually on a future episode, like on a future episode title, something walking wolves, something. I don't know.
Something dark side.
Yeah.
something sinister, dark side. Anyways, so one of the things I wanted to talk about today was the groups. They're growing by leaps and bounds. Paranormal Round Table, Paranormal Encounters, Paranormal Lounge, Ryan's group, or Whisper to a Scream, and then of course I have my fan page, which was created by some fans, and we get a lot of people on there who think I'm Josh Turner, the country singer, and they don't even bother to look at my profile and see that I'm some other dude with a microphone that's not him. And I'll get people saying, "I love your music," and I'm like, "Thanks." Did you see my playlist on YouTube or what? What's going on? Sir Paul, thank you for that. Gotta write this down while I'm thinking about it. So what I was thinking is, if you guys wanted to hear somebody tell their encounter, I could maybe try to get a hold of somebody and see if they'd be willing to talk about what happened to them.
Oh, and thank you, Chris Clough, for that.
Thank you,
$5.
Appreciate that. Okay, Curtis. Okay, the only thing I've gotten like in the last 2 days was t-shirts. It was 2 t-shirts. So if that wasn't it, I don't know. Okay, so that wasn't it then. This week's episode, anybody was curious about it, on Friday we have someone that's going to be telling their Dogman story. I think it's pretty interesting. Okay, so Curtis, no, I have not received that package yet. Says Josh, how good are you at identifying animal prints? I got a dog, 4 toes. You can see claws, but it's got a heel as well. This thing is 8 to 9 inches long. Wow, that's crazy. My wife just texted me. My blood pressure was a little bit high earlier. She's worrying about me.
Sir Paul is asking, how do we become a patron? If you look at the bottom left of the screen, Paul, that's the Patreon website. Just type that into your web browser, and you can just follow the instructions to join.
That's right there. Barry, thank you for that $10 donation. Actually, it's more than $10 because it's
pounds.
It's pounds and British money, which is about $100 now in American money. Our inflation's so ridiculous because every day they want to give stimulus checks out and then give other trillion to other countries. So whatever. When are you going to talk about possession? I have a very terrifying possession story. A very, very terrifying one. We're going to talk about that one pretty soon. I got to be ready to talk about that one. And I got to interview someone tonight as soon as we're done with the show. So that's why I kind of wanted to get started early today. But I don't know if I did. How early did we start?
I think we started a little bit after 7:30.
A neighbor. Let me ask this person that. See what they say. They say it'd be awesome if we could get a short story or two on lives. Well, I never went to tell it because the live stream starts and then it takes a while for it to fill up. So this person says, I've seen what it looked like as I took as possessed people in the ER. You got to send me the stories about that.
Oh, wow.
That'd be interesting. I've had some nurses and doctors tell me some weird stuff when I was in the hospital. This person says, Wolf, you need a bang or C4. Yeah, that would send me to the hospital, dude. Why do I need that?
I think you're saying you look kind of tired.
I am tired. And then everybody I've talked to today when I was at the postal annex mailing off the stuff, the guy in there, he was tired and haggard. Looked like he was about to fall out and ready to go home. And he lives way out in the country, so he has a long drive. And we were talking, and he was just like, "I'm tired," And then I was over at the nutrition place, getting me a supplements and a shake. And my friend Yvonne, she looked tired. She looked like she was ready to go fall out. And my wife's just dragging and tired. And Anthony's tired. I'm tired. I don't know, what's going on. Everybody's just having a dragging day, just dragging butt. It's been raining over here, so it kind of lends to it.
Yeah, it's one of those gray days.
Yeah.
So we had someone asked if we had any alien abduction stuff, and we actually recorded a whole episode specifically about alien abductions, and we have that in the
Next
chamber
Friday.
lined up. Yeah, for next Friday.
Mm-hmm.
So just be looking out for that, because that's a particularly creepy one.
Yeah, this one is the dog man, and then the next week is the alien abduction.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we have a $25 super chat from Titan. It says, Josh, when you were working and having your encounters, did you rely on any blessed artifacts at any time? Do you subscribe to that? Keep up the great work. Appreciate y'all.
Titan, I believe that objects have the power that you give them. I believe that if you give something the ability to, have a power, it'll have that power. So I believe that we as people bestow energy upon objects. Somewhere at some point, energy was put into those objects, and I believe they have the power you give them. So good or bad, you can make things good or bad. Raining all day in Houston. Yeah, I went to sleep. We can't fall asleep. That rain was making me not want to wake up today. I can tell you that. I hit the weights pretty hard. Anthony's actually, you videoed me, right?
Yeah, a couple of times.
He videoed me on the second set. This was actually the second set, believe it or not. And it was of me. You sent it to was it on Messenger?
I think so. They're not going to be able to see it very good on your phone, though.
Yeah, there's no way to put it on here, is there?
Not at the moment.
I was going to show everybody. Well, text Scorp, let him know we're live so you can moderate too.
All right.
Okay, so Curtis said that package was delivered way back on Thursday. Somebody signed for it.
To the P.O. box, or to
Yeah, that's what I'm wanting to know. That's not good. I didn't get it. Lyle Blackburn would be a cool guest. Yeah, he's been on the show a couple times. He came on toward the end. He did the last hour with me on my 1-year anniversary show. And then he's come on the live stream, I believe, once or twice. Yeah, he sent it to the right address. I'm going to have to go up there tomorrow and talk to them. So I wanted to give my friend a shout out. I told him I would on the live stream for his business. They really took care of us, and we got a phone that we're sending to you, Ryan, if you're out there. So, you needed a phone, and my guy Phil, he took care of it. Austin Cell Repair. If you're ever in Austin area and you need a cell phone repaired, dude, he's the guy. He can do it for a good price, and he'll take care of you. And it don't matter what kind of phone it is, he'll fix it. Yeah, and also Charlie Perez, if you're out there, I would love to talk to you, get on the phone with you about your action figures. You do custom action figures, so thinking that'd be a really cool thing to have. It's really neat. What does it say? I guess YouTube mod team is erasing comments. What does that mean? Who's? I don't think so.
I haven't erased anything.
No, I don't think. Haven't seen Ryan in the chat. So even though I talked to him just a little bit ago.
Now we do have it set to where, like, if you use certain inappropriate words, then your comment gets automatically, like, rejected. I mean, you can submit a comment, like a vulgar comment, but it's not going to appear in the chat. So, if that's what you did, then that's what happened.
A show about black-eyed children. Give me some stories about the black-eyed children. Somebody says, will you be able to buy wolf action figures? Like, will you be in security gear, maybe fighting a dog man or something? Well, do you have any stories on the cynocephaly? I believe last week I talked about the cynocephaly. I think it was last week. I don't have stories that people can sit there and say, hey, that's a cynocephaly. The other bozo on his podcast, One Trick Pony, he actually has some weird theory about cynocephaly that they are completely not dogman, that they have straight legs, and that's what they are. And I dang near got into an argument with him about it one day off air, and I was like, how do you know that? Like, how, just like, we don't know. Like, you have no idea. I mean, and there's no reason to think that that's the case. I mean, we don't know. I mean, Dogman could be cynocephaly. I mean, there's no why wouldn't there be? Because it doesn't fit the narrative for your show. That's the only reason. Just like I have a theory about the hair, the sparseness of the hair looking like human hair as opposed to hair that comes from a canine, which would be fur. Fur is completely different than hair. So, I mean, you're sitting there splitting technical hairs, no pun intended. But I don't understand why you would have, the cynocephaly would be something completely different than a dogman. It is a dog-headed creature after all. I mean, why would it not be the same? Why couldn't it be the same thing? Why do they have to be two separate things? You know what I'm saying? Just my observation. I mean, y'all can tell me what you think in the links. I mean, what do you think the difference between a werewolf, a skinwalker, a cynocephali, or a dogman? What do you think? What do you think it is? I think a dogman is just a catch-all term for just about any upright canine at this point. I mean, if I had to say like a definition, somebody said, "What is a dogman?" It's an upright canine, upright canid. You know, meaning that it could be any type of upright canid, whether it's a werewolf, a cynocephali, or a skinwalker. I mean, people want to believe all sorts of things, and they want to try to set they want their world to fit into their belief instead of finding their beliefs according to the way the world truly is. That to me has been a big problem for a long time with humanity, just in general. That you want our world to fit into, you want everything to fit into our world rather than us as humans having to fit into the world around us. We're trying to shape the world to fit our beliefs. When you do that, you pervert everything. You twist everything. What is real and what is actual, it becomes all just a matter of, your perspective. And one guy will say that's a dog man. Another person will say that's a werewolf. That's a shapeshifter. That's a skinwalker. That's a, I mean, who's to say what's what? And then you have these ethereal accounts of these things doing, which people absolutely just want to ignore that. I mean, there are these people who are so into this flesh and blood that they are an actual flesh and blood animal, and that you will be able to go out and find one. Even if they are a flesh and blood animal 100%, which I don't believe that. I don't believe that they're not, but I don't believe that they are 100%. Some people believe that's absolutely all they are. That's all they are. They're just 100% a flesh and blood animal, and that's all there is, and there's no other answer to this dogman thing. And everybody wants to think that that's the absolute truth, but it's not. Sorry, there's too many different types of things going on for it to be one single. There's not just one answer. So. Oh, my God, super hard yesterday, man. I am so tired. Sharon Lane says Athena, the devil's backbone, is no joke. Stay aware. You mean stay away or stay aware? I mean, I wouldn't say stay away, but do be aware if you're going out there that it is a haunted place and it's full of weird phenomena. And I don't mean just haunted by like some ghost of some Native Americans. Like some people see some ghosts of Native Americans and soldiers and things like that. I think that it's got a lot more going on. I mean, people see Dogman, Bigfoot, Goatman. There's all kinds of stuff going on out there. I can't read these people's names because of the purple color. The sleeping, I can't read that. The sleeping Wendigo says, I looked at it and it looks like a human print, dog print combined. I have no idea what that is. I have not seen anything like it. There it goes. Sorry, guys. The stream disconnected temporarily. So the person I need to get a hold of. Hold on one second, folks. So, has anybody got any questions about the paranormal? About all right, we're talking about the Patterson Gimlin film. It says my favorite story of Josh is about the vampire he saw. What vampire are you referring to? I've covered other people's stories where they saw a vampire. I've met someone who claims they were a vampire, and that was really weird. I'd have to get a few of my friends to come on the show and tell you that story because it's so bizarre. And it's not really anything paranormal or supernatural about it. It was just weird. It was weird. I guess it might have been a little bit of something weird, weird to it, but I thought about coming on today and telling the Skinwalker story, which I eventually will. I just didn't. I'm so out of it and tired. I was hoping to hear back from this individual, but I guess not. I want to say to everybody, I appreciate, that everybody, these people that after this individual went and said that I wouldn't let it go and whatever, and everybody who stuck up for me and posted things, I appreciate it. I appreciate you guys doing what you did, not letting these people just bully and do what they were doing. Because apparently he's, they're hardworking. They're calling people up and telling them that they're being bullied and harassed, and I'm going like, just the fact that you spend, all that time harassing us, and then like right within the same, it looked like the same from the timestamps, like the same hour, like you went right afterwards and said that I was the one not letting it go. That I just couldn't get over that. I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. That takes some hardcore dedication right there. I'm sorry, folks, but I need to eat a couple almonds here because I'm feeling a little weird. I don't have it in me to do that. To mess with someone and their wife, and then mess with one guy and his girlfriend, and then go and mess with this other guy and his wife, and then go and say they won't leave it, they won't let it go. I have no idea where that comes from. What kind of insanity?
I want to highlight this comment from Gene. I don't know how to say his last name, Mahaffey. I guess he said, I knew a guy that claimed to be Jesus, and the tree fell on his car while he was going down the road. Well, that's why you shouldn't go around being a false prophet.
That's exactly right. Susan, thank you for that. It says Susan Young, Hi Wolf, Nellie, Anthony, and RY. Who's RY?
Ryan.
Oh, Ryan. Okay. All he got was RY. Says Wolf, are you planning on attending any conferences to present? No. I don't have time. I just don't. I've been talked to. Was offered to go on Spaced Out Radio. They offered to give me some slot at the end of July. I that's so far in the future. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing July 31st, especially with my business. I can't commit to that. That's too far in advance. So probably not. And it's with some person that I've never heard of. It's not David Scott. It's somebody else. So I just basically told him I didn't have to. I can't do that. I can't tell you what I'm going to be doing at the end of July. I don't know. Any more immortal stories? Yeah, like one. So I do have some very weird alternate reality stories and a lot of weird stuff. So I was talking to these two people yesterday, and they are from Washington, from the state of Washington, and they're sisters, and they're very nice people. They like the podcast, whatever, and one of them was giving me directions about where they lived, where they used to live in the area. And I pulled up a map of Washington and I was looking at it, and I started to notice that on that map, it looks way different than it did in 2018 or whenever I went, a couple years ago when I went out there in the summer. I remember Seattle like being, and there's this little sliver of land right there, like Seattle, and then this little sliver of land. It was almost like Seattle was in a bay, and there was like a sliver of land there. Very weird, very strange, because now there's like this little island of Seattle, and then there's like this huge chunk of land to the left of it, and there's just like this little divot that goes down in there. I can't explain that. I just kept looking at that map and going like, it does not look correct at all. That does not look right. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this works, but I just kept thinking that's not right. That doesn't look correct. The map of Texas doesn't look correct. Doesn't look right to me. But the Panhandle looks like this little chicken wing looking thing. It's like sticking out. Panhandle used to be this big old thing. Now it's like this little small piece that sticks out, and there's this big tall, elongated whatever. And the state looks different to me. My own state looks different to me. My old co-host had actually mentioned that too. That he noticed that it looked, weird. We were sitting there staring at it, and we were like, "Wow, this is weird." Why does the state look like that? I have no freaking idea. It's just a weird thing. I've had other people tell me that too. Maine. Here's what's weird: is Maine it goes at the top. It does this little like weird, like the end of a bone or something. It's weird, and then there's this little extra space there that's now Canada. I could have swore that all that was Maine, and that Maine was like almost like a peninsula. Like there was left and right, and it just jutted out on its own, but it's not. I don't know how to explain it. If you look up on a map on Maine, it just looks so freaking weird, man. I just can't. Like the whole map just looks completely weird to me. Let's see if I can pull one up. Of course not. Okay, looks kind of different just since the last time I looked at it. Now, if you look at it on here, I don't know if you can. I think that light's too bright. You probably won't be able to see it. Well, anyways, now there's this Canada all the way around it, where it just I remember. I remember Maine going all the way to the end, and then there was like water to the north and east of it. Not now. This seems so weird to me. And then the other state, Wisconsin, looks different to me too. And then Michigan, the Upper Peninsula and the Peninsula, whatever. I remember that piece that stuck out of Michigan, the Upper Peninsula. It looks different from the way I remember. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of weird stuff, man. I've talked to a lot of people who remember things differently, too, So if anybody else has any ideas about that, let me know, because I'm curious. Australia and New Zealand have moved, absolutely. Australia is like right up against, like, what is it, like Malaysia or something? Like there's all these, like, it was land down under. It was down under, and there wasn't all these countries right above it. I don't know, man. The whole map looks weird. South America's like way over here. Here's North America. Here's South America way over here, and then Africa's just right there. Like South America and Africa are close. What it looks like to me, and I remember this. I remember being in the library. I was a bookworm as a kid, and I like geography. It was one of my favorite things to do, was look at different maps and stuff. I have a pretty good memory, and I remember looking at the map and going, this doesn't look correct, because I remember South America being right below us. Africa was not, right next door to it, and it was not right up against Europe. Africa and Europe are like this now, where Africa was out here. Now, if you take time and you think about how the continents have shifted and how everything has changed, Africa and South America were at one time one thing, right? Then they start to drift apart. They're about like this right now. The way I remember them was South America was way over here. Africa was further down here. Europe was further up. North America was up here, and South America was right below it. Now South America is way over here. Africa's, like right up against Europe. All the countries are like smushed together. It's really weird. I remember seeing a map progression as a kid, as a youngster, and seeing a map that was like, a few million years, younger Earth, like a few million years ago, millions of years, whatever. And I remember seeing that map and going, oh, that's cool. And I have that memory, like, just burned indelibly into my mind of like how close South America and Africa were. And it showed like them together, and then it showed them apart, then apart, then apart, until they were where they eventually ended up, which in my timeline, I remember them being like South America was a long ways from Africa, and it was below. It looks like we're on a younger map. It really does. And I remember also as a kid, the Earth being a lot older, or being told by science that it was a lot older than it is now, that we only had like a couple billion years left and the Earth was going to be kaput or something. I think that's what they're saying. But I remember them saying something like 1.2 billion or something, and now they're saying no, it's more than that. It's very weird, okay, to say the least. Like, it really does make me think that the map that we're on has it's a younger Earth. Like, for some reason, the continents have not moved like they had. And That's how the Earth it looks. But then there's also things you can't explain, like why is Texas shaped the way it is? Why are all these other states shaped the way they are? Unless you say, hey, because this map, the Earth, the land is different on this in this timeline, then that's why the states ended up looking the way they did. I just can't even. I don't know where to begin without sounding just. I mean, I'm sure I'm sounding absolutely nuts to a bunch of people because y'all don't. You probably don't subscribe to it. You don't understand it. You think it's crazy. Global warming causing rise. That's not going to explain it. I'm sorry, Susan. Not trying to be rude or anything. Even if global warming, which is that's a hot topic. I call it climate change, but even taking climate change into account, it's not going to move the continents over. It could actually cause the states to look, the coastlines to change a little bit, which could explain Florida being the way it is, the way I remember it. Georgia wasn't. There's all these weird things. But it's not going to explain South America and Africa being right next to each other, and Africa being practically right up on top of Europe. I mean, you could practically walk from Africa to Europe now. It's so weird to me. Sicily was further away from Italy. Like Sicily was like right here, and Italy was right here. Now Sicily's like right there. Like everything seems closer together. Like when the continents were all together. And then they kind of did this, and my timeline, I remember it being kind of like that. They're all far apart. Now they're kind of like this. It just makes me wonder, like, what's going on. You can Google the U.S. Navy maritime maps. Yeah, I mean, you can. What I'm saying is you can look at the maps of this timeline and it's going to just show you what it shows you. But what I'm saying is the maps are different from the way I remember them. The continents don't look the same. The countries, the states, even the capitals are different. I remember Savannah being the capital of Georgia. Guess what? It's not. It's Atlanta. I thought Savannah was the capital. I remember doing a report about it as a kid. I don't know. There's so many weird things that I can't keep up. I mean, I can't. I don't understand where all of this is headed. People keep saying CERN. CERN did something and they messed with something in timelines, and we've been jumping timelines and whatever. But I can't say 100%. What I believe because I'm not real sure. Somebody just said, since when is Atlanta the capital of Georgia? Go look it up, dude. It's weird. Yeah, I remember the capital of Australia being Sydney. Now it's Canberra. But I remember getting into an argument with somebody back like in the mid 90s about Australia and saying that I thought Sydney was the capital, and they were like, no, it's Canberra. So that's one that's been around for a long time. I don't know. The body changes. What do you know about the body changes? Angel Martin, they have always lied to us about the entirety of the map, Earth, or so changing maps means little to me. Yeah. Yep. It says our galaxy used to. He said our solar system is now near the center of our galaxy. It used to be out on the spiral of an arm. Yeah. Yeah, it says here heart was more on the left side where I came from. Now they say it's in the center for one. First off, Josh, you believe he landed on the moon? I've already discussed that in another show. And right after that, I got demonetized temporarily. So, what it says, CA was an island on old maps. California. Well, I know I heard Linda Moulton Howe talking about stargates, and one of the things that I thought interesting was that if they did move the continents through some sort of shift, then that would cover those stargates up, putting them effectively underwater. So maybe that could be part of what's going on here. I don't know. Somebody want to get on and chat with me about it, I'll be up to giving you a phone call. Just send me your phone number through Messenger on through Facebook, because you definitely don't want to put it up here. It's the easiest way for me to call you is just call through Messenger. Or if anybody has a story that they want to tell, we could tell a few people's stories here if you want to. Just send me a message on Messenger. The person that I'm going to be interviewing tonight, she actually had said that she wanted me to just retell her stories and do it correctly because, Goofball didn't do that. And I was like, yeah, but then if I retell the story and even if I tell it correctly, he's going to say that that's not the story he was given, or that he told the correct story and I didn't, and this is still going to go back to the witness. So I told her it'd just be better for her to come on and just tell it herself. You get all these weird creatures appearing too, these mandanimals. Trying to look at something real quick, folks. Not happening. Just looking up at this ceiling. I don't like the way it looks. Thank you. Okay, folks, I got to do something. I will be right back. Okay, folks. Any thoughts on the UFO news? What news? They didn't do anything. You know, they said they were going to come up with all this stuff, and see, that's the thing, Susan. That they had, you know, previous maps were drawn the way the I'm talking like just in the last few years. I mean, we've had these satellite imaged maps for a long time. Long time. I'm not talking about these maps from the 1600s where they were just kind of guessing, and you know, and then they'll put in the water, here be serpents, you know. No, what I'm talking about is like very recent maps in the last several years, and you know, I mean, the satellite, it's, you know, they're on there. I mean, they've had the satellite to image these for a long time, and now they look completely different. And those were satellite imaged maps too. That's what I'm saying. Yes, yeah, she just said that. Betsy, thank you. She says y'all need to study this ME Mandela effect. It's not just different kinds of maps or improvements. There are serious, huge changes. Yes, yes, that's what I'm trying. That's the message I'm trying to convey. Is that there are some seriously huge changes. I mean, like the thing with Washington was just, it blew my mind, like how much land was still to the west of Seattle. I don't remember it that way. I remember Seattle being closer to more to the coast. Even when I was just there a couple years ago, I remember, you know, looking at the map because we were talking about going across, you know, to the other side, and there wasn't this huge chunk of land there. I mean, I could swear to it. I mean, it's so weird. Can y'all see me? Can everybody see me? Yeah, Seattle is close to the ocean. Like, not anymore. I mean, it has like a little weird bay type thing that goes in, but it's not. It used to be that, and then just a little, horseshoe, and there was this piece of land, this strip right there, and that was it. Now there's this. Now Seattle's in the middle. It's weird how to describe the state of Washington in the map. I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so weird. I mean, if you go and look at the map, you tell me what you think. I mean, I've had people from different states tell me, like my friends from Michigan, telling me that their map looks different. When you go from into Canada, from Detroit, it used to go from north to south. Now it's east to west or something. It's very weird. I mean, it's a lot of weird stuff. Anyways, somebody give me something here. So I got a guy here just sent me a message. Let me see if I can call him. It would have to be through Facebook Messenger. Great. There it goes. Let's see if I can call this guy. Hello? There it goes.
Hello.
Hey, is this Forrest?
Yes.
Okay, so Forrest, you're on the show. You're on the live stream on Paranormal Round Table with Josh Turner. You want to tell me your story?
Yes, sir. Yes. I was actually, 1 second. I need to plug in my phone real quick. But, yes, I was driving my school bus one morning, and I was going through a subdivision. And I hope you can hear me okay.
I can hear you.
And I noticed off in the little bit of the distance over the houses and the trees, this square-shaped object. It was totally square. It was black with gray piping along it. That's what it looked like. I couldn't really focus on it. That was the other thing. I couldn't really focus too much on it. It was like it was blurry, constantly blurry. And it had a little red dot right up in the left-hand corner of it. That's the only other color. Any other color it had, it was just a little red dot. And when I was driving through the subdivision, I kept looking at it through the trees, like I said, over the houses. And as I was going along, I kept seeing it, and I was getting ready to stop because, to, because I wanted to call up maybe the student or two to see if they see it, because it was just so odd and out of place. And as I was going along real slow, it went behind some trees, and I was like, well, if it's still there when I get beyond these trees, I'm going to stop and call up students and let them see it and see what they say. And they, anyways, when I got beyond them trees, it was totally a different shape. And it was almost like it changed to like a really small size, and I thought that maybe, it was like don't ask me why, I thought maybe it was like a helicopter or something like that, just because it went from, like how you'd be looking at a helicopter from the side view, and if it went horizontal, it would, you would be looking at it long ways, and, that would explain why the sudden oddness of size change there. But then I realized it actually didn't turn or anything. It was shrinking, and I could tell it started to get smaller until it just totally blanked out, and it went back to the normal looking sky. And it was the oddest thing in the world. I thought about it the whole rest of that day, and I've been thinking about it ever since. It's been about a year or so since I've seen it. And instead, it was one morning when I was driving my school bus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I live in Michigan.
What part of Michigan?
I live about 30 minutes outside of Detroit, in the suburb. So,
any other weird stories you got, or?
It was totally bizarre, though. That thing was just so odd that it was just weird. I couldn't focus on it either. It was like, it was like rub my eye kind of. I was like, what's going on? Why can't I see this thing clearly? And it was just odd, but I could tell that it had gray shapes in the middle of it, like it was like piping or something going along with the blackness of it, because the majority of it was black.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, and like I said, I've seen it for quite a bit, and to the point, like I was going through a subdivision, so I had to go slow anyways. And as I was going along, that's when I had to go back towards way inside the subdivision. I was like, I'm going to have to, when I turn on this other street here and go down a little bit, I'm like, if it's still there, I'm going to have to call up one of the students and see if they see it. But like I said, as I went along and it came back out from behind some trees, it was 3 times smaller than it was. Like it looked totally different because it was, so much smaller. And I was like, oh, it's going away, or it turned or something. And like I said, that's when I realized it wasn't turning. I could tell it was getting smaller and like shrinking, not like going away, just like shrinking.
And any other weird things that have happened to you, like that could be connected to this incident?
No, not really. I mean, I've seen a couple of other like normal. I mean, I don't know if you would call it normal, but kind of regular, like a description of a UFO, like bright light. Or actually, one time when I was working on a train at a train company, Um, we were working in a big shop. We would repair train cars, and we had these big bay doors, these overhead doors, and we'd go outside and smoke. And me and a bunch of guys working there, we seen a silver disc up in the sky right above us. Everybody kept going outside every time we'd go outside, and it's hovered above there for quite a while. Everybody that worked there seen it. And, we'd go back outside to smoke, and it'd still be there. It was there for like a while, and eventually, when I went back out to smoke again, it was just gone. So.
What year was this? The one that you saw, the first one you talked about?
The first one I saw was, let me think, when I started driving the school bus was 2018. It was like 2019.
So it wasn't that long ago.
No, it wasn't too long ago. And stuff. The disc I seen when I was working at train company, that was a while back ago. That was 10 years ago, so maybe not that long, but. And then working at that train company, it was funny because I would work the second shift, and one night when I came home, I was, I'd get home about 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd stand on the back porch smoking and listening to music. I'm a big Genesis fan. Sorry, I had to say that. But I seen this. I was just, I like to go home and just look at the sky, night stars and stuff, and I could tell seen this light going across the sky, and I was plane, obviously, you think that at first, but I could tell that I didn't see any blinking lights. I just seen the one white light. And I watched it going across the sky, and I'm like, man, I do not see a blinking light, any blinking lights on it at all. And it got farther across the sky from me, and when it, got off to, I don't know, say I'm looking up and got off to my right where I'm looking right, I guess, in the sky, all of a sudden it got, like, brighter, and it was almost like at first I thought it was like, hey, how could that be getting closer? Because it almost made it look like it was getting closer because it started to get brighter. And it got really bright, and then all of a sudden it blinked out.
That's crazy. Well, I appreciate you coming on and telling your story, and thank you for listening to the show. And
well, yeah, I appreciate it, man. I mean, I love your show very much, man.
Yeah,
awesome.
And we love our guests.
Out there, man.
And thanks for really coming on and telling that story.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Forrest, I'll see you, man.
Yeah. All right, I appreciate talking to you, man. I hope your wife's doing good.
Yeah.
And
thank you. You have a good night, too.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
So that was Forrest's story. See? Somebody could just come on and just tell their stories. I got somebody that wants to tell, and I don't know how to do this because these stupid fan page thingies don't work right. It's one of those two right there, and I can't. That's great. Facebook is a pain in the butt. There's these pages that we made, and I they're so horrible to use. I mean, it's hard to do them on a phone. I don't. Which page? Well, I got two of them. I got this Paranormal Round Table and then Josh Wolf Turner from Paranormal Round Table. And the message was sent by somebody who she was on her Mother's Day episode, not this past Mother's Day, but the Mother's Day before. And she wanted to come on and talk. And I was like, hey, that's great. It's a sleepy Tuesday, not doing anything. It's open lines, I guess, here. So we got Paranormal Round Table and then Josh Wolf Turner from Paranormal Round Table. And I can't, one of the message, it was on one of these as the message. And now I can't find it. It wasn't sent through the messenger on the regular. See, and people folks, don't send messages to those two groups. I can't work those pages. I really am just. I created those because I was advised to, and right there. Yeah, there it is, right there. But I have to be friends with her. I don't think that I am, so I can't call her. I can call her on regular phone, but not through the. See, and how these pages work, they don't give you the option to even. All that's going to do is just pop up a bunch of different people. I tried. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, Christina, if you're there, if you're listening, I'm trying to get through to you. Send me a friend request on Facebook. That'd probably be the easiest way to do it because I'm not able to, like, on my phone. I can't even go back and access these messages I get. Just guys would send them to my messenger on my regular Facebook because it's just so much easier to deal with. Like, I could call her on the phone.
Yeah.
But I mean, in order to do it, to make it easier to do it through the messenger. If anybody else wants to talk, hit me up on Messenger. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there's a million people with that name. That's why you can't. I mean, there's no way to do it unless she sends me a friend request. I won't be able to do it. And here I can't even find friend requests. Yeah, that's still that's still my number, but I can't. I have to call you through Messenger in the Facebook. Otherwise, we got to hijack Anthony's phone because this thing here only does Bluetooth. Sickening designs. Uh, the weather. Could be the weather. Could be a multitude of things. Oh, my back. Oh, my gosh. My back hurts. Anyways. All right, folks, we had a few technical difficulties there. It's been raining really bad here, so could probably explain some of this.
Hello.
Hey, is this Christy?
Yes, sir.
So you said to call you.
Yes. I've seen a lot of the Mandela effects around, like going to work, going around Ann Arbor, Michigan. The road curves a certain way. It's changed like multiple times. It used to curve around to the right. Now it goes to the left. The Mandela animals, like fruit, those cotton grapes.
Yeah, cotton candy grapes.
Grapes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have those. They just came up out of the blue last year to me.
Yeah, I
That's
never
when
had
things
seen
popped up
those before either until recently, and yeah, my wife loves those.
And everybody else is like, oh, they've been around for years.
For a long time, yeah. Never heard of them until like about a year or two ago. So
exactly. Yep, I haven't. And the different animals that are popping up, the heart. Pledge allegiance to the flag. It was over the left side because that's where a heart was. Now I'm told it's in the center.
Yeah.
Somebody mentioned about a bone, an extra bone in a vertebrae. That's something I heard of, and more webbing in between her fingers. Something that's kind of popping up. Not to mention crazy stuff has gone on in my house here lately. I don't know. I think when they
let me explain something to everybody first. Let me explain something. You were on our show. You were on our show on a Mother's Day episode, and I'm going to try and find that episode. And folks, if you want to go back and listen to that Mother's Day episode, I can't remember what episode that was. It was the first year, I believe.
Was it your 12th show or something? It might have been.
Was it that far back? Oh my God, it's been a long time.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember. No, that was the Paranormal Potluck. And we had Devil's Backbone. Trying to find it here. And then we'd see alternate realities. I thought it was way back.
Yeah, it was like shortly after you got started.
Yeah.
It was the first Mother's Day you had.
Yeah. Well, we have the pilot, which was Goatman.
We have a lot of shows now, yeah.
Yeah, and then we had the Haunting in South Austin, 1, 2, 3 of those. And we had Truckers Encounters.
16 was a Paranormal Mother's Day 2 years ago.
Okay, a Paranormal Mother's Day. There you go. Episode 16. So it goes way back. You were on the show, episode 16. Okay. And so, anyways, folks, this is Christy. She had something really she talked about on the show. She believes her mother spirit had saved her from something that had happened, and that was pretty intense. So you're talking about the Mandela effect. Another thing I was going to say before you move forward about the stuff in your house, look at our hands. Look at how low the thumb sits on the hand now, and look at how long the thumb is. It's weird. Like if you just sit there and you look at your hand, the thumb is at the bottom of the hand where I remember it being up here, because I remember. Can you hear me? Can everybody hear me?
Yeah, I can now. It cut out a little bit.
Okay. Because I remember when we were kids, we would make the turkey tracing our hand at Thanksgiving on the construction paper.
Yep.
And the thumb was kind of like right up here, it's like and now it looks weird. So I'm sitting there going like the thumb is further down on our hand and it's longer. The thumb is really long now. Yeah. And these are weird changes. I mean, there's like a lot of stuff that I remember being completely different, like, 20, 30 years ago. And then even in the last 10 years, I mean, there's all these weird things that me and you talked off air about the Mandela effect. And you were talking about how it scares you. It was one of the things that really scared you.
Yeah, it scares the hell out of me. Excuse me. Yep.
Yeah, because at any time,
Because
go ahead.
you never know when another change is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like you try to bury your head in the sand to ignore it because I see stuff constantly. And the driving, I can't tell you how many times I have gotten off at an exit because I think I'm going the wrong way. Driving literally home from work. Driving home from work thinking because the road it changes the way it curves around Ann Arbor constantly for me. Constantly. And you're not paying attention, you're on autopilot and you look up and you're like, what the hell, what's going on? And it messes with me constantly. But I remember fighting with my mom over Jiffy peanut butter
Yeah,
because it was
Jiffy. Yeah.
Yep. Because I thought she grabbed another imitation because she got Skippy and it was nasty and yeah. But just like the animals and everything, the body changes is what really freaks me out though, because it's like, what are they preparing us for? What's happening next? Because I'm sure you've noticed like paranormal stuff has upticked. It seems
Mm-hmm.
like the walls getting thinner, the veil, and more stuff's happening. And people in general, a lot of the public are just I don't know, they seem to be losing their minds a lot more lately, just in general. But I think that one of the theories is we're jumping realities
Yeah.
constantly. That's why we're
Yeah.
tired. There's a lot of us that are tired all the time. The body's run down. Stuff that used to not phase us, we're having issues with, like just normal everyday stuff. I'm sure pandemics don't help that, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that are different that aren't correct. I don't. People try to make excuses all the time. Oh, that's because of this, because of that, and I'm like, I'm not looking for things to be, weird because I want them to be. I'm just looking at it because that's the way it is. I mean,
Yeah, it is. It
yeah,
and people aren't. I don't know. A lot of people try to bury their head in the sand and not realize the changes going on.
yeah,
um Trying to get my husband opened up to it. I think he finally realized when we were talking when I was on your show trying to figure out like the entrance into Canada changed for us.
yeah,
And he was like no way, he's right. That was the one that finally set him off, where he realized something was going on.
yeah. It's so bizarre. There's so many things you can't even put your finger on. The pulse of just one because there's so many.
Yep.
There have been things that guys at the club that I worked with got into an altercation with an individual, and the way that they remember it happening or ending was not the way I remember it. I remember once getting into a fight with a guy and pulling a chunk of his hair out. Now the story, I mean, like I literally ripped half of his scalp, and I'm like, what are you talking about? Like I'd never remember that happening. I remember another fight where a guy got hit, and it happened a few times up in that club. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yeah, now I can. I had something with my brother. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, I just remember like there was a fight and
Okay.
some
We had
some Can you hear me? I guess we're having some serious technical difficulties here. I don't know what's going on. I just remember getting into an altercation.
Yeah, it's breaking up.
Yeah. Can folks at home, can y'all hear both of us? Because maybe she's not hearing me. I don't know what's going on. Well, I'm going to have to call you back because I can't. Something's wrong, Christina. We can't make it work here.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, I can hear you now, but you kind of.
Well, if I don't talk to you, you have a good night.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Oh, I gotta love. Yeah, I can hear you now. Gotta love technology.
Yeah.
I have full bars. I don't.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It just I could hear you fine. Is she coming through?
Yeah, both of y'all are coming through.
Yeah, she's just having a hard time hearing me. So anyway, there was this altercation, and this dude had like dreadlocks, and apparently I ripped him out. I don't remember that. I just absolutely do not remember that. And 2 people say they remember that, and the other 2 people were at the fight. They don't remember it that way. And I watched these guys get into an argument about how it went down and who did what. All I remember is there was a fight upstairs one time where a guy got his head split, and I just remember that one was a big deal, you know, and I wasn't involved in that altercation, but this one was like, you know, it was like downstairs by a poker table. We didn't legally have poker. We could play, you get drinks or something, you know, and so we'd have a poker table sometimes. And so, I got to fight with this guy who threw a drink on the poker dealer, and I grabbed him by his hair, and I guess the fight, you know, and he had like these dreads, you know, and so, apparently I pulled the guy's dreads out of his head. I do not remember that. Not at all. Nor do 2 of the people that were at the fight, but there were 2 or maybe 3 other people that were like, yeah, that's what happened. Literally, that's what happened. And then Wolf walked away and he threw him in the trash. And I was like, I don't remember that. So I have no clue. You know, I mean, there's so many things that have changed.
Well, me and my it keeps on cutting out on my end a little bit, but me and my brother went to Disney World down in Florida with my cousin, and you know, ran the rides, everything. I mean, it was memorable because we ate at the Cinderella Castle, and he passed gas and cleared out the Space Mountain ride. So we cut like a big group of people. I mean, not to get gross, but that's what happened. It was real memorable. Me and my cousin remember it. My brother says it never happened.
Well, maybe he's embarrassed by it.
Oh, you have to know my brother. He'd be proud of it. Space Mountain ride, he'd be proud of it. But just stuff like that, having different memories, you know, compared to in the past. Well, don't you remember where we went here? I had the same thing. I mean, granted, not, you know, I wasn't getting in a bar fight with anybody that I didn't remember, but just different situations where you know, there's no way in my past where it happened. In fact, we have me and my brother have a little discussion. My mom passed away in 1999. He says that she died in 2000.
Wow.
That's a big controversy.
Well, when my grandmother died, I said something about her having died in April, and then my stepmother and my sister were like, no, she died in May. And I remember it being April, and then my Tia Hova dying in May. But then one of my sisters told me, no, she died on June 1st, which to me still is May. It might as well be. I mean, it's all in that same corridor. All people I've loved. Yeah, there's a lot of weird stuff that goes along with this whole phenomena. I know that a buddy of ours whose dad had died, and we all got together and visited him. You know, when he came to Austin, we went to a friend of mine's bar. He was in mourning, and we were all, you know, supportive. And after the services, you know, we all had a drink. And I didn't go to the services because I had to work, and it was a weekend, and I had very little time. But I did go to the after memorial thing, and then, you know, 2 years go by, and he's announcing that his dad died.
Oh, you see, Patrick Swayze has died 3 times.
Yeah, he's died twice in my timeline. Yeah, and he's died twice as far as I can remember.
3 times now for me. It's like it's crazy. It's totally crazy, and stuff like that just blows my mind.
And somebody just said here, Curious George used to have a tail. He did. I remember him having a tail.
He did. Yeah, I remember that too.
And I remember the Monopoly guy having a monocle, and now he doesn't have that. That's like that never existed. The whole
Mickey Mouse had suspenders.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember. See, and then now he doesn't. Correct? Forrest Gump's life is like a box of chocolates. That saying has gone back and forth. It's like it changed, it went back, it changed again. They've like changed up the saying with that. Because the last time I looked it up, it was back to normal again.
Yeah, someone else put on there, the wolf lies down with the lamb rather than the lion.
Yep.
Yeah, in the Bible.
There was the lion where I came from too, and now it's changed to wolf.
Scorpion just said, didn't the Queen of England die twice? Yeah. The current Queen of England, I remember her Okay, not her mother, not someone else. I remember her dying, and I was in a restaurant, and we were all laughing about it. And we got into an argument with some people because they turned and started being all snotty with us because, oh, the poor queen had died, and I was like, so,
Yeah.
what do I care about
I
these
remember
royalty?
I remember being up on the newspaper walking through. I'm like, oh wow, she died, and
Mm,
then she's still around.
yeah.
But did you ever see that video they have of her where her eyeballs are changing into the
Oh,
lizard?
yeah.
Like she has the inner eye. I don't know. That's some weird stuff too. Makes you wonder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's been some weird stuff. Somebody's talking about Moonraker. Yeah, braces. That was another one. They both had metal mouths. There's so many, I can't even, it's hard to even wrap your mind around how many there are of these.
The animal, the deer with the fangs.
Yeah, and gills.
There's one with gills now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that one.
Very,
That's something new because I didn't hear about that one. Another one we get to watch out for.
yeah, that's
It's
crazy.
but it is. It's weird. It's definitely, to me, it's terrifying that it makes you wonder: are you jumping, or is the world just being manipulated?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Um,
and it is a hard one it's a hard one to decipher whether we're jumping timelines or if this is just some sort of psyop, that's telling us. I mean, I don't know. I've vacillated back and forth. I don't know.
I had I have a personal one that something that I'm not very proud of. I don't have the most perfect past. Um,
Well, then
but
you must
I
get
had
off my show. Only perfect people are allowed.
well, I had a I went through a younger stage. My ex-husband wasn't a very good person, let's say. Um, I had a point in time in my life where I didn't really didn't care to be around too much longer,
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I left him and got away. And I know it's gonna sound crazy, but I woke up one morning and I was back with him. And I know it sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but my brother and my dad helped me pack my stuff up and move out. I was gone it was like a week and a half. I was gone, and I literally woke up in his house. And I know it sounds crazy, but I don't even remember going back. And it threw me through a loop because he was not a good person. He was actually better, but I don't know if you've ever been with somebody for a length of time. You've had too much problems to try to mend through anything.
Yeah, I've been there.
Um,
Hello?
I, even though this person was better than what I had before, I still didn't want to be with him. And I know it sounds crazy, but I moved out and got away from him and woke up in the apartment with him. And I know it sounds crazy, but I swear to God, on my mom's crypt, I didn't move back in with him. I just woke up there one day, and it was like, what the hell am I doing here?
I would say it sounds
And I
crazy
couldn't
if
for
you
the life of
hadn't.
me.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it sounds crazy if you haven't had it heard so many stories like this. Yeah, it doesn't sound crazy to me because I've had stories that are just basically alternate reality stories, and then stories that are borderline alternate realities, missing time, Mandela effect, astral projection. I had a person who astral projected into their old house, and then woke up and they had they were just in shock that they were in someone else's house. Someone actually saw them and
Oh, wow.
freaked out, and then they woke up, they were in their own bed. The police came and eventually later on that evening or day knocked on their door, asking where they were at such and such in the morning because
Oh, I lost you.
yeah. Well, I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm gonna have to cut the
I can
call.
now.
Yeah, because we keep breaking up here, and I'm sorry. I don't want to have
Okay.
you not be able to get through. But I will talk to you again,
It's okay.
Christina. And thank you for coming on. And
Okay.
we'll talk again. And thank you for being a guest too.
You're very welcome. I think you said thank you, but you're breaking up again. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. All right, so I'll see you later.
Okay, have a good night.
All right, you too. So that was Christy, who's been on our show. She's a very nice person. She was on our Mother's Day show. So, anyways, the story was this person ended up getting visited by the police. They can verify that they were at home asleep in their bed because the wife was there. They didn't get up. They didn't go to their old house, the house that they sold to those people, and show up in their living room and walk around their house and do whatever. And there's no way they could have, because that house is 6 hours away. So they could verify that he had got up, went to work, and was at work by 8 a.m. And there's no way he could have been in their house at 5 a.m. So it was very weird. But the people that bought the house from him, they swore it was like the guy that used to live here. He, and so the wife of the people that had bought the house were actually confused because they thought, if I remember how the story went, I don't have the notes in front of me, but she said this guy that he sold us this house like 6 years ago. Okay. He just was wandering around in our house in his underwear, and they freaked out and they said, "Who's the guy?" And, well, this is this guy, whatever. So they looked him up and they found out where he lived, and they went and they visited him, and they said, "Did you blah blah blah?" And then he's like, "No, I had a weird dream, about that." He told his wife. He didn't tell the police that, but the police, were like, "Okay, well, he can verify that he wasn't, that his coworkers, his boss, and his wife and his children all saw him at the house." The neighbor saw him go out and leave. So the neighbor was outside. They had a brief conversation. And that conversation was around 7 a.m. No way he could have driven I think he said it was almost 6.5 hours away to that other town. There's no way. I mean, it's an impossibility. And there was no sign of a break-in. He didn't have a key. The locks had been changed, obviously, and the couple that saw him was adamant that it was him. It was the guy that used to live here. Now, he astral projected into his old house. So when you get stories like that, and you get stories of football players get hit in the head during football practice and live another life for 2 or 3 months, and then wake up and they're in the hospital, and none of that happened. Alternate realities. I did that show. And I got a lot of weird alternate reality stories. I got stories of people who were helped or saved by spirits, possibly ancestral spirits, or people who had passed over. Some that were just strangers that they swear were like angels. I don't know. I mean, there's so many different things that go on, and it's so hard to even to fathom. I would like to sit here and tell you that I could come up with all the answers to all this stuff and tell you, yeah, I know exactly what that is, and let me explain this and that, but really it's just going to be left up to you, the listener, to make up your own mind and come up with your own theories. I can tell you what Wolf, Josh Turner, thinks, but that doesn't necessarily, that may not work for you. It may not translate to what your situation is. I mean, people are offering the answers to all these different things, but all of it can be refuted. Like the thumb when you get older, the thumb going down. Now, I first noticed that when I was about 35, and somebody was talking about all this. Now, I'm 45, I was like 10 years ago, okay? And this is 2021, this is like 2011. And they were talking about weird changes that were supposed to be happening. And then after 2012, a bunch of weird stuff popped up. So people say, oh, well, 2012 is when it all happened. Something happened in 2012, but I don't think that was the beginning, because I was noticing weird stuff happening, which made me think of stuff that I had been told over the years by a multitude of people, Like one guy, he painted his car. He had a really nice Impala, and he had a paint job. He kind of it was a lowrider. I knew the guy. He was a friend of mine since I grew up. And he had it was I remember it was like that red color, and then at night it looked black, and then I saw it again and it was blue, and then at night it looked black, but it was like a bluish color, and I was like that's crazy because I remember it being red. My friends do too. He was like, no, it's always been blue. I'm like, that's weird. It's hard to wrap your mind around. Especially when you got people like you're driving, sitting there going like talking about it later on. You're like, I remember it being red. They're like, yes, I do too. Two people I was with were like, that car was never blue. And so I asked his brother one day when I ran into him, and I was like, hey, did he was it red and then it changed it to blue? And he goes, no, it's always been blue. And I'm like, no way, dude. No way. You're messing with my head. There's no way that's possible. I just cannot. I don't know. I can't wrap my mind around it. So many weird things. So I got a call from someone. When she called, we were in the middle of our technical difficulties, so we'll see what happens. And then I had another person on here that was wanting to talk. So, anyways, if anybody has any weird stories to talk about today, I have an interview to do tonight at around 10 o'clock, so I'm going to have to be done by then. But let me take these headphones off. I don't need them on. I think my head looks silly. I got a haircut tomorrow, thank goodness. Athena Goss says, I do. What does that mean? I think one of the things I'm going to start doing with the live stream is like calling guests through Facebook and just letting people come on and tell a little story. Which I was accused of actually stealing this idea from Doug Man, believe it or not. Yeah, he has the nerve to go around telling his listeners or anybody that will listen that he had the idea originally to do a Q&A and that I stole it from him. So I don't know if he was doing the Q&As before me or I have no idea. I don't remember how that went down. But I definitely didn't get the idea from him. Got the idea because people were asking for more than just an hour's worth of a week worth of content. And, it costs a lot to sit there and produce, the shows like those shows that it takes a lot more, because you have to put them on all the different platforms. You can go on YouTube live and it doesn't cost you anything, except for your time, which is valuable too. But yeah, doing the other show, you have to drop it on all the different platforms. Yeah, I was accused of stealing that. Just a big old meanie, a big bully, and he's poor, poor mistreated person who's always being attacked and harassed. I got a call coming in. See who it is. Hello? No, you're actually. I would have to call you. So, sure. Let me call you back on this profile. Okay. All right. Bye. So that sounds good. Messenger. There we go.
Hey, what's up, Josh?
Hey, Hector, what's going on?
Am I on the air or are you gonna?
Yeah, you're on the air.
All right. Well, I sent you an old hack story like a couple months ago. I don't know if you remember me.
I think so. Yeah, I get a lot. I've gotten several of those, but I remember. Yeah.
Well, my old hack story is the only realistic thing I ever encountered paranormally, and I got a lot of backstory about it. But I'll start when I'm Dominican Republic. It's my nationality. Around when I was 5, I had an old hag visit me in my dreams and also in person while I was awake. And in my dreams, the way I would like in reality, I would like sit Indian style watching TV, and apparently I would fall asleep, and my uncle would like carry me to bed. But when I fell asleep, I started dreaming I was still watching TV. So when that would happen, the old hag would take me and would drag me under the bed and shove her hand inside my stomach, and I could literally feel a sensation that's closest to pain that I can imagine without being pain. I can mostly describe as like, if you're getting like a tickling sensation, but like you want the person to stop tickling you.
Yeah.
It's like a strong vibration. And that was what I felt. And this happened for years on end, night after night. And even during waking moments, I would see her and I would scream. And when like my mother turned around, like she wouldn't be there. It was like toying with me. And this happened for years. And this actually what led me to become proficient in lucid dreaming, because I realized as a kid, if I tried to kill myself in my dreams, I would wake up. But what happened was that the old hag was clever and started barring the windows. So I couldn't do that anymore. So I got to a point where I fought the old hag, I guess, one time, and I defeated it, quote unquote, and it stopped. But that was like something that really affected me. And then if I could shed light on it, later as an adult, I think I got some info why that happened to me. Because my mother divorced my father because he was having an affair with a woman, and the woman was a so-called witch doctor. And apparently,
she's a bruja.
Apparently my mother got a phone call from another so-called bruja who told her, "Yo, watch your son because someone did something against him." But I was never told this as a child. Me as an adult, I was told this. And basically, I think this lady cursed my mother while she was pregnant with me, because I was conceived in the Dominican Republic, but I was birthed in America. So my thing is, maybe this lady directed it to me, or it got attached to me, or whatever. And this was the reason why it was attached to me. And this is like the only ever apparition I've ever saw, ever. Like, and even like when I was a kid, I would tell people about it, and they would like shrug me off. But I think that they knew what was going on, but they didn't want to tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't know that the Dominican Republic also has a branch of voodoo, which is like not Haitian voodoo, but it's called Dominican voodoo, which is older than actual voodoo. And I will know because later as an adult, I delved into a cult and I learned this. Luckily now, I'm a Christian and I believe Jesus Christ, but I still like, I'm putting the pieces together. You know what I mean? And if you have any questions, I know I'm long-winded, but
No. I'm listening. I'm listening to you.
Yeah, and basically the old hag presents herself as a elderly dark lady for whatever reason. And what's funny is that under me there lived this elderly lady who kind of resembled her. And I met her later on in life when I was a little kid. And for some reason, my grandmother had interactions with her. I don't really know why. And one day when I visited her house, she had like a whole bunch of saints all over the floor. And you know how people have like saints like in a corner, like statues. So no, it wasn't this. She literally had thousands of saints in every inch of her house. And for whatever reason, and then when this lady died, the nightmare stopped. So I don't know if she was correlated or whatever, but something weird was going on. And I remember one day, and it was funny. I'm gonna go. My grandmother always prayed the rosary like religiously, like beyond Hispanic traditions. You know, you're Hispanic. You know, grandmas pray the rosary. My grandmother prayed the rosary 6 hours a night religiously. And one time I asked her, "Why you do this?" She told me that one time, when she was in her village in DR, someone put a curse on her and she was possessed. And her family took her to a witch doctor, and the witch doctor told her, they put this on you because someone's jealous of some man you're dating or something like the line. So,
celoso is a big problem.
The only way to get rid of it if you pray the Hail Mary or whatever it is 9 times a night or something for the rest of your life. And you believe my grandmother did it for the rest of her life? Wow. So that she had a stroke. And even when she had a stroke, she would murmur words, and I know what she was doing. She was still praying the prayers. I don't know if it was unconscious, but it was so ingrained in her memory. And I know that my grandmother had knowledge of the dark side, because when I had the dreams late at night, I would scream out, and my grandmother would just take me behind the bed, put me in my bed, and wouldn't ask me a question or a word, because it's like she knew. Like she knew what's going on, but she never questioned. You know what I'm saying? Like normally you ask me, hijo, ¿qué pasa? ¿Qué está pasando? But she would never ask you. She was consoling me. So later as an adult, in hindsight, I think she knew what was going on. Is that she couldn't elaborate what was going on. I think I had a generational curse in my family that wasn't broken. Well, luckily I think I'm broken now. But yeah, and that's like the only supernatural thing like that I've seen apparition was that. And that ties into sleep paralysis, seeing ghosts, all that. Other than that, I ain't never seen nothing. But this I seen from my own eyes. And I have no history of schizophrenia or nothing of the sort. So I know what I saw. And I was the only one who saw it at the time. Other people saw it too.
Well, I'm glad that you got your life right with God, and it sounds like you've done your best to try to shake that, and I'm proud of you.
And also, my grandma also told me about cryptids. Cryptids told me about mermaids, but not the mermaids that we imagine. The mermaids are much more grotesque than what it was.
Oh yeah.
And apparently in the Caribbean, there's a lot of stories about mermaids, because I believe that mermaids like you are a Nephilim.
Yeah. Yeah, send me. I'm going to do a show about that soon, so send me those. Let me know, and we can talk about
if you
those.
Want, I could talk about you because but I'm real long-winded. I got a lot of stories. On top of that, I used to be in Santeria in the occult. If you want to dive into that,
you could come on one day. We could do a show together.
Because I'm really experienced about it, and any practitioner gonna know he know what he's talking about. And this stuff that you can't learn on the internet. And I'm not gonna divulge no secrets or nothing like that, but I could talk about it in a roundabout way.
Okay.
So if you got any other questions, brother, I don't want to hold up your time, but
no. So I was just looking at this other person's call. So do you want to talk about the because the mermaid thing? I wanted to get with you and talk to you about that.
I could continue this call. You want to call me back? Is whatever. I'm not doing anything. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, I would like to talk to you about that and get, because I'm going to be doing a show about that, because I have some really creepy stories that people have told me.
And there's a lot of things that you can't find on the internet. I know.
No, I know.
Like for example, like I know practitioners that could take you to certain spots. If you pay them, they'll take you to certain spots in Haiti and they'll show you a mermaid.
Yeah, and I've heard of it in the Caribbean. I've heard of it off the coast of Africa, in particular West Africa or the Ivory Coast.
I never seen it. I believe I heard the story about spirits. They take them underwater. I never experienced that. I'm telling you what I've heard firsthand. I'm not saying that can't exist, but that's more of the realm of I can't confirm that.
Yeah.
But
there's certain spots.
But I've seen a spot personally. someone took me somewhere, and I can't tell you I saw it like, but there was something in the water. He told me if you throw a coin at it, it's gonna go to the coin because it like attacks via sight.
Yeah.
And I saw something. It could have been a shark, could have been nothing, but because it didn't pop his head up, you know what I mean, like in the movies.
Yeah, and well, the Nuale, as the Hawaiians call them, the Nuale, they're actually shark people, but that's different. That's something that's not the same thing. They're two different things. Like the mermaid.
Well, I'm talking about the actual cryptid, because there's also spiritual aspects of the mermaid in voodoo and Santeria. They're called Mami Wata, all this other kind of stuff.
Well, they have spirits just like we do. Like one thing I try to tell people, like we were talking about the Cynocephali earlier, okay, like the dog-headed people, and when that dog-headed physical creature dies, it still has a soul. It still has a spirit. I mean, it has just like a mermaid. If it dies, there's a spiritual aspect to it. I mean, it's just common sense. If a cat or dog die, they have a spirit. If I die, I have a spirit. So you could be dealing with the spirit of a deceased one of these cryptids, for all we know. I mean, there was a story I got out of Massachusetts where these people were on a beach, and it was a private residence, when they would see this werewolf-looking creature that would walk along the beach and just evaporate. And there was a story of a person that had lived, and I've told the story before, I'm sure, but there was a person that lived on that stretch that was supposedly a shapeshifter and who practiced magic. And after they died, people were seeing this werewolf that would just evaporate. I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
it does exist, but
it goes down the rabbit hole, dude.
But to get to that level of darkness, it takes commitment. You can't you can't just go on Google and look something up. That's not how it works.
No. Yeah, and a lot of that too, like I've read so much material. I have a couple friends that are Masons. I mean, we don't hang out or anything, but I know them, and one actually invited me, and I turned him down. I was like, no, I'm not. First of all, I don't have time for anything like that, but I'm not interested, you know. And we had so many conversations, and he was like, man, you had to have had access to the Masonic library to be able to know. And I was like, no. I just and really good at finding information and studying and learning, you know, because he thought that maybe I had access, you know, information that's how I knew all these things, and it just takes dedication to learn it.
A secret about the knowledge I know in my traditions, so-called traditions, they'll only work with you through a bloodline. They could pick a person of another nationality. It has happened, but normally it's because someone in your family has made an oath and they deal with you through that bloodline. So as in saying, you know how most people are Haiti do voodoo, not saying that people Caucasian can do voodoo, they do. But normally Haitians do voodoo is for a reason.
Yeah.
The same way that Celtics do some kind of a Norsic kind of rune thing, that's because that's their thing. Every deity has their own bloodline, because I believe, and this is our research as being a Christian, is that I realize as deities, pagan deities always want the same thing. Like in the past, they want blood, they want food or whatever. It's because in the Bible it says that they desire things they used to have. Because if they were so powerful, why would they need these things? They wouldn't. Yeah. It's basically a transaction. Really, what it is that, and then if you're an adept and you realize what they want, you could kind of bargain with them if you have something to offer them.
Yeah.
At the same time, you can't be a Joe Schmo and go on Google and expect, you know, hey, whatever your name is, you do what I say just because I do what I say. It's not going to work.
Yeah. And if you don't, and then it comes back to you too. So,
like for example, I had an experience where I saw some kind of witch doctor out of the blue, and this guy don't know me from hole in the wall. He told me, "Yo, your best friend is trying to betray you." Said his name, said everything. He didn't know me. He said everything, but he was possessed. Because in voodoo, basically the spirit possesses you and he's talking through you. And the guy flat out told me, if you want, I could kill your friend. And I'm like, bro, don't do that. Just take off whatever you want to take off, so whatever. He's like, all right, I'll do it, but you got to pay me $500. I was like, look, bro, I don't got it right now, but I'll pay you in the future. He's like, all right, okay, you just pay me on this date. And I paid him on that date. And I Googled the certain, I don't want to say his name, but I Googled the certain spirit, and he says he's one of the only spirits who does work on credit. Basically, most spirits will,
Yeah.
most spirits will like only want the money now, but he's one of the exceptions that will do work for a payment in the future. But you gotta pay him exactly what you say you're gonna pay him, and I didn't want to risk that, so guess what? I paid him what I paid him, and then after that, I washed my hands clean.
Wow.
But at the same time, to not give too much glory to them, I used to have a godmother in the religion who was 30-something years Chango. And she got read on a Saturday, and she died on a Tuesday. And I'm like, wait, the spirit was supposed to tell you you're supposed to die on a Tuesday. So apparently that didn't happen, because the spirit was supposed to tell you, look, you're going to die on Saturday, so you got to do this. But apparently that never happened. And my godmother was like really into this, and she never visited me or nothing or ever. And that's when I realized, yo, this is kind of not legit, because you would imagine someone who this is powerful, quote unquote, would visit her godson who's asking her to visit her, and it never happened. And then one time I had a bad dream that some spirit came to me, yo, we got to take out your mother, because my mother's really Christian. We got to take out your mother, and you got to pay me. And I'm like, yo, you out of your mind. I don't care what you say. I'm not doing that. Then when I woke up, I trashed my altars, which is a big no-no. You're not supposed to do nothing like that. Because basically, I was like, you know what? Why I serve y'all for if this is what y'all telling me to do? And I trashed my altars, and guess what? Nothing happened to me.
You at that point though, you were saved. You were a Christian.
I was always Christian, but I was dabbling. So but I know like that was my breaking point. Like I don't care what I do, I'm not gonna go against my mother. Like no matter how evil I would be, like, I'm not doing that. Like bro, like that's not crossing line. And then when I did that, whatever, and then I did used to be a practitioner of La Santa Muerte.
Santa Muerte is very popular, especially with drug dealers
and I had 2 statues. But I had enough common sense. I shouldn't throw this away. I gotta give it to someone who deals with this, and that's what I did. I had a black statue and a white statue. I gave them both away, and that night, Josh, I was sleep paralyzed and a blanket over my face, and I was suffocating to death. And I just said, Jesus, don't let me die like this. And then when I said it a couple times, he stopped, and that's when I kind of got my act together. So I'm living proof that the paranormal exists. I ain't talking about no dogman. I believe in all that dogman, Bigfoot. I believe it exists, but I'm talking about what I know about, and I ain't gonna say no lies. And I know whatever I spoke to you about, I know exists. So if that exists, the opposite has to exist by default, right or wrong, Josh?
That's right.
But that's basically what I gotta say, Josh. You can call me back if you want to say my stories about the mermaids and whatnot. But whatever.
Yeah, definitely want to make a show about that. So.
Shout out to the callers if I'm online. Peace.
Yeah, you're online. So everybody, that's Hector. Hector's been a long time listener and a supporter of the show, and I'm glad that you turned your life around and stay on that narrow path. It's hard for guys.
Shout out to Ryan Tremblay. I'm a mod in his channel. He's also been a good friend I've been talking to a while.
Yeah, Ryan's a good dude, man.
Shout out to Whistle Scream, a podcast I've been around since he was with the other guy.
Yeah. The other pendejo.
I'm not into that, brother.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man.
All right, peace. God bless.
Hey, you too, man. So that was Hector, and I've known him for quite a bit. He's given me stories, and I was trying to put them together and put them into different. One of the things, I was talking to a couple people last night. I was interviewing them. I'm partly why I'm tired. I was up till 2 or 3 in the morning just doing that, just interviewing some people. Their ladies or sisters are going to be coming on the show. We're going to be recording tomorrow for that. But after I'm done here, I got to record with someone who is from the Ute Reservation, which is going to be pretty cool. So I was talking to them, and I was telling these 2 sisters about, how everything is so compartmentalized in this business or community, this system, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, this industry. You got UFOs, you have Dogman, Bigfoot, which aren't necessarily together. You have them separate, and then you have ghosts, and you have all kinds of different stuff. And there's a lot of infighting amongst researchers, amongst podcasters, amongst authors, amongst everyone in this community. There's just a lot of infighting, and no one can really agree on who's right, who's wrong, or why they're right and why they're wrong. Everybody has their own view, and it's a shame that we compartmentalize everything because, when someone has experiences, a lot of times they'll have more than one experience with something. And when these shows specialize in one particular subject, they box themselves in, and that's all they can really talk about because that's what your show is. It's just based on just that one subject, and it doesn't go anywhere else. So when someone talks to you about something else that may even be connected or related, they shy away from it, and it kind of does everybody a disservice because then you don't get to know the whole story. You're getting like a partial information. You're not getting you're not being told the everything in its entirety. So with certain people, I would be getting their stories. They would have 4 or 5 different stories of different encounters with things. Okay. And I believe some people are experiencers, and they would have, a story about a vampire and a story about seeing a winged humanoid. And then the rest is like spiritual stuff or something, or even a UFO. Well, they go on these shows and all they do is talk about the UFO incident, or they go into a show and all they do is talk about the Dogman incident, or they go on a show, all they do is talk about the ghost. So, all you're getting is part of the story. You're not getting the whole scope of the story. And why is it that this person was able to see UFOs when others weren't, or that they encountered UFOs and there would be other people with them seeing them too? And then they would have spiritual activity that would be happening to them, and they had witnesses to that too. Why is it that person it's happening to them? They're like a conduit, or they are there's something about that people whenever they, you know, Dean, I thank you for that. It looks like I had another one too here. Last 2 donations, Dean and Royd X. It says, "What's up, PRT family?" I can't say your name correctly. I'm sorry, but it says, "God bless everyone. Stay safe. God, guns, and country," as they say. Also, more Devil's Backbone stories, please, Mr. Wolf. Well, I've gotten a couple recently. Actually, we were talking about that just the other day. But yeah, you get like stories from people who talk about the like several different genre of things that have happened to them, because it's all connected. And people that are, they're in the Bigfoot community, they're like, "Oh, well, that's not connected to ghosts or UFOs or Dogman. It has nothing to do with any of that." And then the people in the UFO community is like, "It's all aliens, ghost people, like it's all ghosts. It's all just a form of spirit or whatever, and it's just like this whole, like everything is a certain way. And I just don't agree with that. I don't think that everything is a certain way. I think that, keep forgetting to take these uncomfortable things off. I think that there's a lot more going on than what we could possibly know. And I think we're only, when we have these podcasts that specialize in one type of encounter, you're doing people a disservice because you're not giving them the whole story. So then they have to go to 5 or 6 different shows to get their story out, or when you get 5 or 6 stories from a person, and 2 or 3 of them might be in the same subject, but then they might have one that's different, and then another one's completely different than that one. Then you those stories come out piecemeal through the different shows, and you don't even realize that some of those encounters are from the same person, because that person is an experiencer. It hasn't happened a whole lot, but there have been a few people who I've interviewed that have encounters with things that run the gamut. Like it's just there's all kinds of stuff out there. And so and some people are predisposed to encountering these things. They will have interactions with these things. They will have experiences. And I just, like I said, I think there's a shame that people will they'll have them go on to their show, and they'll just tell an encounter with a dog man, and that's it. And you don't get anything else. You don't get any of the other stuff that led up to that. They're not telling you any of that. That part gets edited out. It gets left out, and then they're not telling you that there's spiritual activity going on, or that they've seen a UFO. Something that Nick Valente has been kind of onto for a while, saying that it's like there's a UFO connection there, to a lot of this stuff, and I believe that it's all connected. I mean, in some form or another. I mean, it's not all, all on its own, and unfortunately, there's a lot of people who just want to cling to that, and they'll fight you tooth and nail if you try to change that narrative. So it is what it is. It's everybody saying happy birthday, Ash. Yeah, happy birthday to you. So, folks, it's 10 o'clock, and I am sorry I came in dragging and so tired. But we got we got a couple phone calls, got some people on the show and talked. And we did what we did. I have to do an interview with someone who I hope it'll make for a good show. And this show that I'm going to record tonight will be coming out probably not this week, not next week, but the week after. This week it's going to be a dogman, and then next week is the alien abduction, the mantis creatures, and there is a little bit of dogman mixed in there. So it's very weird, but it's there. So, anyways, should be in 2 or 3 weeks. I guess 3 weeks we'll be looking at this one, and I'm glad that this person's willing to come forward. Her story, like I said, was mistold on somebody else's channel, so I'm looking forward to doing it justice and getting it done correctly. So, all right, folks, I'm going to let y'all go. I'm sorry I was so tired and out of it, and I hope that you guys enjoyed it. All right, for everybody at PRT, I'm going to tell you good night.